what I did have was contagious energy and passion and like the care and the want that these people like were seeing. And like, I just cared about them. Like I was genuinely like excited they walked through my doors, and I think they just felt that.
Today I have the great pleasure of sitting down with Kathryn and Chuck Robuck from Lake Orion Fit Body Bootcamp. Kathryn started as a client at Fit Body 6 years ago and quickly became a coach, and her passion and motivation to change lives was so strong that she decided to open up her own location. Today, even with 2 little kiddos, she takes great pride in the community that she's built with Fit Body Bootcamp. Good morning, Kathryn and Chuck. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. You two are like my 2 favorite people in Mastermind and in Fit Body because I feel like we have so much in common right now. Life is just so crazy. With the kids and with the locations and just everything in between. Yeah. It's been a journey.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Good morning to you too. It's one of those things like you mentioned, like there's so much that similarities between a lot of us, I feel like, as owners and as just people in general. So to say that, like, you can connect easily.
Oh, yeah. And it's so nice. I was just talking to Jen Schubern earlier about this. It's like when you come to a mastermind or you go to a Fit Body World Conference, it's like you feel like you're with your people. Mm-hmm. And as an adult and a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you often feel like you're so alone. And so when you find other people that you can connect with that are going through a similar journey, it just makes you feel like your life is normal. Yes. And that you're in this with someone else.
It's like freeing.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
we can
so
like be
freeing.
free. Yes, exactly. Like when you can like, oh my goodness, like let's talk about that, because one conversation can lead to 9 others that we're all going through or that we can just connect with and be a part of. So
I think it was like 20 minutes into the first day when you said your comment.
Oh, yes.
And I got emotional really quick, but it was awesome because one, Dirk and probably loved it, right? It just sped everything up, but what you said, life and everything, like it just connected so quickly, the whole room.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what's so cool about Mastermind, is what you said. We all know we're owners, but we all have life, like we were just talking about beforehand.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of times we have to put on, as an entrepreneur and as a business owner in our industry, you have to put on this front that you're strong and that you have all your shit together. Yeah. And you don't have all your shit together. Yeah. And some people like to see that vulnerable side, but then you also have to be strong for them because like they need that support.
Yeah. And being okay being vulnerable, because that's the thing too, you know, sometimes when that happens, then you actually feel bad that you were vulnerable.
Right.
Which is weird because that's when you're gonna get the most growth and people are gonna reach out to you that normally wouldn't. So the vulnerability actually gives you the avenue to grow, even though it's a little hard sometimes.
Yeah. It opens up lots of doors.
Let's talk about all these things that actually make us vulnerable. Tell us about your journey. So you started as a client at Fit Body in 2015?
That was 2006. Oh yeah, it would have been 15 because we weren't married just yet. Yeah, yep. I found Barrett at Henson's Berkeley location in Michigan.
Walking distance?
Walking distance from my house and just a client. Yeah, like it just,
convenient.
Happened to work out, like that it was this convenience, right? And that's the biggest thing about convenience and fitness and where you want to go. But as far as like the Fit Body journey, so my first step in there, Barrett just had an atmosphere that was welcoming and was just wanting to do better and was there for you. My first day, I was like, how did you do this? Like I was like already like, let's go. And he actually asked me, which is a funny story that he'll tell too, is that he's like, what do you do for work? And I was like, I'm in HR. He's like, I would have pegged you in fitness. And I was like, funny story, like I've always wanted to be in fitness, but you know, I'm in HR and here's my story, and kind of went a little bit in that. Fast forward, I became a coach for him, was a coach for roughly a year, him knowing the whole journey that I wanted to open my own as well. And he was a great mentor and great support and all in on me to like make sure that happened. Then within a year.
Yeah, in 2 regards too, like from the coaching and the training, like what he's obviously really, really good at, but then Barrett's obviously good at owning as well. And so that I would be talking to him at the same time, either together or kind of separately, because I would go in there and just talk about how it got started. And so he helped on both aspects of it. So kind of helped give us a path forward for opening a gym.
Now, were you going to Fit Body too with Kathryn?
I begged him to come. So I would literally go home and be like, guess what I did today? Like,
I don't remember if I did or not.
Like, you came a couple times because you met Barrett and then Barrett fell in love with you. So like, and then I was kicked to the wayside. No, I'm kidding.
Usually how it goes. That bromance.
Then I met Heather and I kicked him to the wayside. No, but
I would come home and be like, this is what we did. And I'm like, just try it for 30 seconds. Like, it's so hard because, we both were into fitness. Like, we both worked out. But like, to showcase what I was doing, I'd make him do it in the living room. And he's like, oh my gosh, it is hard. So he came to a couple, and then we moved away from Berkeley location. And that's a little bit of a story that we can go into. But a year later is when I opened mine in Lake Orion. So it was a very fast process, really, for us.
So a year from when you were a client, like when you started, from that date, you opened up your own location.
About a year and a half, because...
That's incredible.
Yeah, because I started on a 3-week Groupon.
Oh yeah, I forgot the Groupon. Yeah, don't use that.
I don't think Groupon's even a thing anymore, is it?
Yeah, I don't even know. And then we went on our honeymoon. We got married and went on our honeymoon. And then we moved out of the area, like 40 minutes out of the area.
So Kathryn was getting up, I remember it's like 3:30 in the morning.
Hold on, you're fast forwarding too quick because we moved out of the area like 45 minutes. And I stopped going, but I was paying still. I stopped going. I emailed Barrett and I was like, hey, I miss it so much. Like, I'm going to try to come a couple times a week. And goes, a couple times a week, I better see you more than that.
Yeah.
And then I just showed up and I kept showing up like for a month or two, like just to work out. And he was like, I'll take care of you. And we started having conversations. And then within 2 months, I was a coach. And then there we went.
I forgot, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So 40-minute drive to work out and then a 40-minute drive to actually coach. 5 a.m. session. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning making
that is so early.
But it was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that now, like how much time and effort that took. Like getting up at like 3:30, the 40-minute drive, doing that. And then today or yesterday we talked about retention and employees and stuff. Like the amount of work, again, the owner's gonna put way more work in than employees. But I think too that doing those types of drive and starting, like those are things that are really, really hard. And you forget those are the tough things. And then you fast forward and just from a mindset standpoint, like you gotta remember like that's what you did beforehand, because now the challenges we have now
are so different.
And you still keep it up at the same level, right?
Yeah.
It's just think of all that work and all that you did there, like and then you look at the challenges today, they're not anything near as difficult as doing what you did and taking that leap of faith and doing that portion of it. So
well, and to think back on that time and in that moment, it was really hard. I was doing the same thing because when we opened, our location was 45 minutes from where we lived.
Okay.
And so I was coaching at 5:30 a.m. So I had to get up at that time too. Mm-hmm. And I just remember I have to drive on the interstate to get there. And my mother was like a nervous wreck. Any night, like before she knew I had to do that, she's like, what time are you leaving? And she would text me like, did you make it there okay? I'm like, yes, I am there. I am fine. I'm a grown woman. I'm fine. But that drive.
Yeah. When it's funny because waking up wasn't the issue.
No.
The drive.
It's just the drive.
Minutes, you're like, okay, now I'm tired. And then your clients showed up and then you're at the energy again, So, because the clients just fill your cup so much as soon as you see them. But yes.
And that was like, I know podcasts were out then, but that was definitely life before I had discovered podcasts, because I'm pretty sure I would spend my drive thinking about what I was going to make the theme for the day, what I was going to talk about in my sessions.
Yeah, I was
some sort of motivational, spew that I was going to give to the session.
That's funny you say that because I was prepping how to explain the movements and going over when I first started. And then I tell that to my coaches today. I'm like, your drive, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, when you're first starting, use that as prep time. Get your mind right, get in the zone right away, because when you walk in the doors, it's game time, baby.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. And as a mom now, I love those silent drives by myself. Mm-hmm. I would take a 45-minute drive multiple times a day if I could.
Your own music, your own time.
I'll just sit there in silence. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so you opened up your location a year later, and was it in the area that you moved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the whole plan. Yes and no was the plan, I guess. But we opened up outside of where we were currently at, so 6 miles, so nothing crazy. It was a cold December day, you know what I mean? So I can remember it to the details of everything. But yeah, so we opened up. We opened for about 6+ years now. But that first day was it's daunting, it's crazy because you knew you had the passion, you knew you had the will and the want and the fire, but it's who's going to show up?
Right.
Because in September we signed it, and then it took 3 months of the build out and all that. But then December 5th is the day. And I remember that because we ran the ads, some special, I'm doing that on Facebook and the marketing, trying to learn this. They look terrible, I wouldn't buy this. and then we're sitting there waiting, it's 4:30 in the morning, I'm there, and is anyone gonna show up? And then, but people came in, because it was before we did the registering and stuff like that, so.
They weren't booking sessions online, so you just hoped they came in.
Someone to show up, and 7, 8 people I think showed up to the first one.
Yep, we had 6. And they signed on a piece of paper. I just remember all the things, and it was like liberating at the same time. I was like, I got 5 people. Like they showed up for me. Like
gave you that
let's
motivation.
go. Yeah, and I had someone at every session, like through and through and through. Like it may not be huge, but I had someone at every session. Sometimes it was only one person, but it was someone showed up.
Somebody showed up.
Yeah, if I think about your facility, that's like the one memory that just sticks out was that morning waiting. Did everything we put into this. Are the people going to show up? Because if they show up, I knew you would kill it. But are people going to get here? Do they know? So that was really cool.
And our like situation is different dynamic because it was my baby.
Right.
He has a full-time job. He took on another full-time job when we opened this just because he was there constantly.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, hey, there's a guy signed up. Can you come to this session and work out? Like call my father-in-law, the same thing. Like just to like
When there were guys in there, I had to be there.
And, like,
Wait, you would make Chuck work out with this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Just
is
because
great.
I have more guys in the room and like what, pretend like we're not.
Because I wanted that to be like this, and I knew I could crush them in the workout. But
Yeah.
like if they,
That
walked
helps.
in, like I just had a mentality of like, even now I don't care at all. But like it's just really funny how this the things you do to try so hard to make the room more fuller, to make them feel this more comfortable or anything and everything. So, but yeah, so he was like my support through and through in the beginning, like. I always call him the CMO, the Chief Morale Officer, like came in there and just make people laugh and talk and make people feel really comfortable and as I was doing the business side of things, so.
And it's one of those things too, I look back now, because the marketing was terrible. I mean, it was horrible.
It wasn't that bad.
I mean.
You have to start somewhere.
We got people in the door.
Yeah.
But people were coming in and they're paying, but I think, even today, again, at these masterminds and we talk about, getting more leads in the door and things like that, that truly, even when you first started, it was just you, 6 months, I think, well, you can talk about that. But just the experience that she was giving people and then them talking in the community, that's just how it just grew. And so again, it's one of those things that it's hard to like quantify, but that is what the most important part is. The experience that you give them and then how they talk in the community.
Yeah, and just grow organically. It was the same for us. It's like just you would grow by one more member every day or, a few new members each week and you knew everything about those members.
Yes.
And there is something so special and so gratifying about knowing who's coming through your doors and building that relationship. And that is really hard to do in this industry.
Yes.
And especially as you grow. Like today, you guys have a few hundred members and there's a ton of new people coming in because you've created such a buzz around your facility and it's so hard to get to know everybody on a personal level, but in the beginning, there's something
That's
so
true at the
special
beginning,
about starting those relationships and building that culture organically on your own.
Yeah.
And to be a part of that.
And to that point, like to still have those OGs.
OGs.
Like that are still
Yeah.
here and they're still showing up and they like remember because we made changes to the facility, obviously. Like we went from, of course, the red, white, and blue now to like the black, gray, and white. And like
We expanded.
we kicked down a wall, or I didn't kick it down, but like we took down a wall and like all these things that they remember that I forget about sometimes and they remind me.
Even the small things about equipment, like they remember we didn't have much equipment in the beginning.
Yeah, we didn't have racks, so they were always on the floor, like the dumbbells, like all those little things that that make you like think like, wow, we have come a really long way. Yeah. Like there's those days where you're like down in the dumps, some days are just really hard, and you're just like, am I doing things right? Am I doing things okay? And you think back, you're like, holy cow! Like look at day 1 to day 365 times 6. What is that?
Right.
Yeah. Like it's amazing. It's humbling, but we should be proud of it. And I think we forget to be proud of ourselves.
Yeah. And on the note yesterday too, like for that, like the relationship too, people are genuinely, the ones that have been around for a very long time, are genuinely happy for you. Mm-hmm. Like, and you can see it. Like, they love that it's grown and seeing it. Like, so I think that's really cool. And the relationship with the client as well, and seeing your success. They have successes, but they're just as happy about yours too. Though certain people, obviously not.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You're always going to have the haters.
And it's not even like that they just don't know the whole story, right? And like the one that's seen you go through it all. Like, and I had my 2 babies, and like they've been there through all the big milestones of my life too. Like, Fit Body is baby number 1, right? Like, it will always be my baby, and I'll give as much to that as I will to my kids sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, this find that balance between, Fit Body. That's a whole other topic, but like Fit Body and my children, and but it is doable. You just got to find the balance.
Oh yeah, and like, do you feel today? Like, do you ever look back and just think, I did not think it was going to turn into this?
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I started, similar to you, I started as a client, and I just wanted to do something that I was excited about every day. And I never knew the path that it was going to take. And sometimes you do forget those beginning stages and all the work that you put in. And when you see a new client, they don't know your story. It's almost like sometimes you want to say like, I used to be here every day, all day.
Look at these pictures. This is what it used to look like.
This was me. Now I have 2 kids and I'm running around. And believe me, I want to be here more.
The wheels are kind of spinning with that too, because that makes a lot of sense with like how it has to grow, because the experience level, as you've gotten better and better and the staff gets better, you learn, you grow through all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, they do walk in the doors and it's a much more beautiful gym. You know, there's all the equipment now, so their standards like so much higher.
Oh, yes.
That does make a lot of sense. I don't know why I've never really clicked, but yeah.
Yeah, like how you were there in the beginning. Like for me, I was there. I was everybody, everything. Right. Like when I first opened, I didn't hire a team first. Like it was me. Like so, it wasn't just coaching. Like I would go coach for 5.5 hours, and then we'd have to set up and do marketing and do admin and do it again the next day and all that. But I didn't have any backed up data to prove myself of like come here, and like I didn't have transformation stories, and I didn't have any of that. What I did have was contagious energy and passion and like the care and the want that these people like were seeing, and like I just cared about them. Like I was genuinely like excited they walked through my doors, and I think they just felt that. And it still happens to this day, don't get me wrong, but it's a very different way now because my coaches do that now, and I come in and I'm like hide a couple people because I'm still ingrained in it. I want to be ingrained in it still. Like I haven't removed myself completely from it because I love coaching. Like I love being on the gray mats, and so I like to fill my cup like a couple times a week with that. And then again, just to showcase that like I am who I am, and like I like being part of it
because of it.
Yeah, because I truly love it.
Yeah. And so like you were saying about passion, like you didn't know what it was going to turn into. And I think it's interesting that I always had faith that it would work for her because she had all the passion. And I always use her as an example, even in other industries or other people you talk to, that if you have enough passion, it'll work out and you'll figure it. But then on the flip side, it's funny, if you talk to yourself, I don't dive into things right away just on passion. I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. When you talk to yourself, but then again,
that's why you're a good match.
Well, that's the thing, which is crazy. I just think it's really cool that how important it is to have a coach or a mentor, whatever you guys have, because then you can take that leap of faith, and that's what you did, and passion is the driving thing.
I would say that, and to bring it back to like my journey to begin, like I would have been fine working for Barrett at that location, like
just continue to do that.
And he was like, absolutely not. Like we are opening our own, and I was like, why? I can be Barrett's like person. Like I'm good.
Yeah, sorry, Barrett.
But Chuck believed in you, and he knew you could do more than that.
Exactly, and I'm not a risk taker, so like. That was very big for me. Like this was a big step for me to be like, okay, like so he believed in me and took the risk on it, and I was like, okay, now if we fail, like what happens now? But we had those conversations, and we were young when we first opened it. Younger, we're still young.
Still got it.
We were young, and we told our parents about it, and the belief wasn't all there from them either. We didn't have the back, like, yes,
I was gonna say it too, because it's important.
Like
we did, like my grandpa helped us out a little bit financially as part of it. And to your point, he literally wrote a letter saying, hey, you need to take risks in life and the things that you take passion. And he says, I don't believe it's gonna work out.
I prayed on this check. I don't believe it's gonna work out.
He said that in the letter?
Yeah, but I hope it does.
Yes, he goes, I don't.
Do you still have that?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Which is nice for someone to. That is a really cool example of something like, hey, I'm going to trust you that and I'll support you, even though he really didn't believe it. Which is, my family was brutally honest like that. Which you could have left that out of the letter. But you could
have kept that to yourself.
It is a cool, that's awesome.
But it was great because he was. Grandpa wasn't even 90 yet then, but like he was kicking it. Like Grandpa was amazing. Like he's like, if you had a class for me at this time, session for me at this time, I'd show up because he's doing siding, all this stuff. Anyway, he's a whole nother podcast. Yeah. Grandpa Robuck is a whole nother podcast. When we were, getting success and that we were able to pay him back very quickly, and he would come in and just watch the sessions. Like he was in our crowd. He's like, so it was really great. And
then you fast forward, then him and my dad were like, you guys should open another one.
Yeah.
So how quickly that changes.
Yeah. Now, have you thought about that? Opening up another location?
We have gone back and forth a lot. In the beginning, it was like, yes, for sure. I want to like repeat and just keep going, rinse, repeat. I think my idea changed about I want to have like this one thriving right now. It may change again in the future, but like I just want to be so engulfed in this one. I think it's because where I'm at in my life too, like personally with kids.
Right.
I don't want to stretch myself too thin because I already feel that way sometimes, and that's okay. And I just need to be accepting of that now. If I open another one, there's no way I'm gonna. My stress levels, it's just not wouldn't be good for us.
You just can't handle it
at this point in time.
Right. Well, I mean, you probably could handle it. You probably could.
You can handle it. It's like, what do you really love doing?
Right.
And what you love, like
Right.
you said, if you said fill your cup beyond the mat, like then you have that location, you want to see it. So, and that's completely fine. Like people need to understand, like one thriving location is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much energy you want to.
Well, yeah. What your goals are and what your dreams are and where you want to go. And I love it. And I'm okay with that, right? Like that's what I want. And we have so many people that enjoy what we do. And it's just that's what it's about. It's about the clients. It's about the members. It's about the team.
Exactly. And like you said, like your kids, they're almost 1 and 3. And that is a whole nother job in itself. And to keep your family strong and your business strong at the same time, like that's a true testament to your passion for what you do, that you're able to do that. For me, so when we actually purchased a location in July of 2020. Doesn't seem like a great time to buy a business, but my daughter was 1.5, almost 2. And I was at that point where I was like, okay, life's getting easier. And so we bought the Roanoke Fit Body location. And a month later, we had 50 members at the time. We started growing again after COVID. A month later, I found out I was pregnant with my son. And I was like, this is not really the best time. But what do? We did that for 2 years. And about 6 months ago, I came to a crossroads where Trevor and I just kind of looked at each other and I said, what do we want right now? Because I love Fit Body so much and I feel like I can't be in 2 places at once. I don't know what's going on at all times with my team because I'm trying to balance it and be a mom to 2 little kids. Like, what are we gonna do? And like, what is our real goal here? And so we came to that crossroads where we said, we just can't successfully be in both locations at once right now. And we ended up selling it to our facility leader.
Yeah.
And that was such a saving grace because him and his wife, our facility leader, like they are amazing owners and they were born to be owners. And this was just the right like opportunity for them. Like they wanted to be in the area that they were in.
Yeah.
And so when they approached us, I was like, yes, 100%. This is what we're supposed to do. And like, we're still so much involved with them because they're new owners, so they need help, and we live around the corner, so it's a great thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having multiple locations with 2 little ones is tough.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
And it goes to, that's tough, like having little ones and finding the balance. And I love it because before COVID, we would bring Caden there all the time.
Yeah.
Like he was like part of like Fit Body. Like everyone knew who Caden was.
Jumping on the boat suits.
like everyone's
that's
like,
how Sophia learned how to walk.
Yeah, planking before he was 1. Like, you know what I mean? Like all those fun things and they love when Caden came and they love still when Caden comes in. And Kinsley hasn't been there as much just because of the dynamic of what we do now. But like you finding other owners that are a great match. Like Barrett didn't have to help me out.
No.
Like when I walked in there, he was like, yes, like I see potential, like let's do it. If that's what you want to do, I will help you get there. And like was never like cold shouldered about it, never, like if he saw the, like it's not for everybody. And you may get a hard no on it and then maybe it's not the best fit for you, but like at the same time, like he trusted in us and like it was really nice to have that someone believe in me when I barely even knew what I was doing,
That's the nature of you guys too. Like you guys like to help people, so naturally you're still helping people in a different way. And that's your guys' mindset, most owners.
Yeah, and I think that's true because this goes off to like another like my before story a little bit. You sit in interviews and they're like, tell me your 5-year plan. Oh. Tell me your 10-year plan. And you're like, So
what plan would you like today?
Yeah. And I always said my 10-year plan was to own a gym. I don't really know if that was even true. Like, and you know what I mean?
I don't remember that, to be honest.
I always say though, like, I 10-year plan is to own a gym. I want to own a gym. And they're like, oh, because I just loved the competitiveness. I loved being part of a team. I loved, fitness. Like I was an average athlete, like nothing, no superstar, but I did well. Like, again, like just really competitive, like wanted to do hard things and prove that I could do hard things. So to my point, like that, started at like 22, 23, those conversations would happen about 10-year plan. Like I want to own a gym. And lo and behold, I own a gym in 10 years. Like knowing that was never really like this Fit Body made it happen.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Were you into like group fitness before Fit Body?
Yeah.
You were? Okay.
Yeah, I liked that. I mean, I could do my own thing at the gym. Like, I knew
Yeah.
what I was doing, but I really thrived because, again, I pushed myself to be like, oh, that person's not going to beat me. Like, I'm going to, strive to that person. Like, I just loved that, like, competitive nature of it, but at the same time, the, like, family of it as well.
Yeah, 'cause you looked for a couple avenues. I remember that now, that you were actually doing some group fitness and stuff.
Oh, yeah, kicking it with KK.
I didn't want to say it. I was like literally going to say it, but I didn't want to. But kicking it with KK is what.
Oh, is that your thing?
So
Kicking
Kathryn
it with KK.
King, right?
Oh, I
so
like
she
that.
goes KK is what her friends
My
call her.
name's King, so yeah, Kathryn King, and then they call me KK.
Kicking it with KK.
And then
Franchise didn't blow up. Don't worry, Fit Body. Yeah, so she was doing that. That's fine. Did you ever do a session? Okay.
Yeah, but it was just really funny. Like, but like, it was always like, I knew I wanted to do it.
But that's aligning, which is so cool. What Fit Body's given you aligned your passion, what you want to do. It gave it made it a reality. Barrett's obviously huge. Your network's huge. Who you surround yourself with. But then it all lined up. Which, if you just follow your passion, talk to people. Kind of going back to the original point about vulnerability is not really it, but just talk to people about it. And things can happen. The words start, I think even yesterday he was kind of talking about that. Like, you use your words and you just go into action and things will happen.
Yeah, don't keep it all inside because then nothing will happen.
Right. And that was, as a new owner too, like, I didn't want to share anything.
Right.
These are my
suffering
secrets.
and silence.
Yes, like,
and...
well, not even suffering, but like, I found a golden nugget. Like, that's my golden nugget. Like, I'm not sharing it with somebody else. Like, I learned that it's good to share. Like, you want to share. You want people that are around you that are doing the same good things around you and that can make you better by doing so. And I think that was, it's all in the learning process, right? I wasn't a business owner beforehand. I wasn't an entrepreneur beforehand. Like, I had no idea what I was doing essentially at the end of the day. Yeah. Like, yes, you were given a box of like box in a gym or gym in a box, and then it's like, you still had to do stuff, which we knew. But I think a lot of people fail potentially, are not successful because they just think, oh, it's all here and I just have to show up. And you have to show up, of course, but
yeah, they look at it as like a
other
business
things.
instead of like the purpose that you guys do, and that's the difference.
So that's what I love about it, because we have such a culture. We build such a culture inside of what we do.
Right.
So
yeah, and I think sometimes too, like the word franchise, like people think, oh, it's all done for you.
Right. Do you want to toast it or not? Yeah.
No, that is not the case at all.
Yeah.
Like, you are the business owner. You have resources that you can either use or not use. You should use them, but you do a lot on your own, but just learning from the other owners.
And you kind of said it earlier, even for your story, you say this all the time, which is great. I don't know if you noticed this, but it's always culture. It is the word that you use all the time. And when you're away from the gym for a period of time, it's back to the culture. Like, how's it going there? And that's like, I wouldn't say the fear, but you know you're such a strong portion of that culture. And I think that is what you just said. That is the success, is the culture.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the culture, like our team is, like, we would not be where we are today in our locations without our team. And they're the ones that have really helped build the culture. I mean, sure, going back to our day one, like, we started it one by one, but then we taught the coaches that we hired to then replicate the culture that we created.
Yeah.
And so just having those
Replicate and
vital...
probably change a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
Because they have their own, and you have to be okay with that.
Right,
Your
right.
culture will
Adding their
change.
own little touch.
Flair. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can share it in a way and that they want to share it. Like, they want to keep doing it. Like, they want to do it themselves and like make sure they keep the culture there themselves. Now it's their responsibility to keep that and to keep the atmosphere and the members at the same level that you had them at. Like, they kind of like want to own up to where you were at. Right. So it sets like a standard, of course, right?
Oh yeah.
But there are hard
There's a
times.
high standard, which is good.
Yeah. I share. I
Rock
say it.
star coach coming from the hubby. I love it. Now, Chuck, do you ever coach? Have you ever coached?
Oh my God, we don't have to go into that story.
No,
but
I need to hear if it's a funny one.
it was what, 6 months into it.
Yeah, it was.
She's like, you had to have a break, right? You go away from a weekend.
party,
Yeah. So I coached all day Friday, every session.
First time you'd ever coached?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I went in with probably how some people might say, hey, this box gym, I can do that, right? So I like talking, and I like working out. I'm like, this will be easy. I was so bad. Like, I normally don't have nothing to say.
Yeah.
I like literally had nothing to say. So now when she talks about cues and everything like that, I'm like, oh, I get it, because I just froze out there.
And it's funny because he was a very big part of it, right? So everyone knew who he was.
Right.
So they obviously were very light on him as well. But I came back there like, whoa, you want to hear Chuck not talk? Put a mic on him.
Honestly, which is crazy, is honestly I wouldn't say nervous, maybe it is nervous. That was the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. And it was so weird. As soon as you stepped out there, I was like, wait, what? What do you do? Because some people are different, right? I really don't need someone talking to me when I work out, right? You push yourself. Yeah. Other people really want that. And I just have such a respect for what you guys have to do for your coaches and how to train them the right way and to get them, because it is a very, very difficult thing.
Yeah.
Yes, they all made fun of me all day, so I just avoided the gym for a while.
Maybe it was just the mic.
Maybe.
Because I think some of our like the new coaches,
No, do we have
they're
a mic
so
then?
intimidated by the mic. Oh,
didn't
well,
have
then
a
it
mic
wasn't
then.
the mic?
No, we didn't have a Bob Barker one either.
No, we didn't.
Wait, you had like a real mic?
No,
Like Britney,
no,
I would have been like Britney Spears in it if I
Bob
had
Barker,
that.
like the little thin one with the little ball on top.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it had
yeah.
a little like box
Yeah.
next to it. That was my very first mic.
Because you didn't have one. That's when you lost your voice 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
And
The mic was like a saving grace for
Yes.
us too. Yeah, we were constantly just sipping tea and hoarse.
And it's amazing because I did it for a full year at Barrett's. Look, you know, when I coached, a full year, like of not even thinking twice about it, and I get but then you're just like you never gonna break, right?
Gotta
You're just
learn how to
going.
like talk deep and.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, I said something, and one of the members was like, "You just said that." I'm like, "Okay, I get it." Like, they
just said that.
Like, I was getting roasted by all the members. It was fun.
But like that, it was hard. Like it was hard, and that's the point. Like we like to like share like all these beautiful things that happen behind or in
Behind the
front of-
scenes,
Yeah, but
yeah.
there's like hard things that we have to go through, like really challenging stuff that we mentioned earlier in this, like that you just kind of put underneath the rug so that no one else sees it. But it's nice sometimes to showcase it, and we had some hard times, and not even yes, COVID was hard. I think COVID was hard for everybody. Like they really tested you. A big piece of advice is like don't take anything personally. Like you just can't. Like and otherwise you're just getting knocked down like left and right. If you do, like you just understand it's a business. But we had some hard personal stuff. Like we lost my father-in-law unexpectedly in November 2020, and then a year later we lost my dad unexpectedly. Wow. So coming right up on their anniversary. So like it wasn't just like business hard, like that was like life hard, right. And then we have to still push through and do those things and be present, and no one really knows that kind of stuff. I mean, they know they've passed, right? But they forget quickly, right. So we don't. So it's like those hard things that you're still a human being, and people forget that you're still a human being, I feel like sometimes. So that's the hard part in the ownership of a business, I think.
I think so too. And then like also, you're in that role as an owner, and then you're going through all of these things. Part of you wants to keep it all inside, but then the other part wants to say like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Like, I need the support. I need you guys to give me some grace. And it's finding that balance, like finding that appropriate level of like sharing what's appropriate and what's not.
Yeah. But I love our members so much too, because they embrace you, right? Like, they're not like, they want you to be like, are you okay? Like they do want that. Right. And that's the kind of family we are. Like, right, what Fit Betty grows is like, we grow families. Yeah. Like they care, they understand, they want to know.
Right. You've already cultivated that relationship, so you feel comfortable with them.
Have you ever called yourself a life coach?
At times.
I was just saying, because she's used that term sometimes over the last couple of months, and it's true because some of these members, it started as their membership and helping them through their journey, their health journey, but now they talk to her, like so many different aspects, which is nice. And then on that note too, with Martin Rooney, right, yesterday? Yeah. I love what he said about being enthusiastic. And then he said, you know how I'm feeling right now? He's like, I'm tired, I'm this. And again, it is good to hide it, if you will, or to play your part and get what you have to get done. But it's interesting how we tend to keep inside like the hardest things in life. Mm-hmm. Like we'll share like the little things, but like going through someone's death or something that big, for some reason people keep those stuff inside, and those are the things we should share. Let people know, because it's not an excuse for your performance or anything that's happening, but it's a good thing to share that type of stuff, because then you can perform better because you get it off your chest. So I just think it's interesting. It's always the big things we hold in.
Yeah, I agree.
And to your trust point, like it builds trust. Mm-hmm. Like I really think it builds like trust within your facility, within your camp. Like I don't have a visual transformation. Like people can walk in and be like, oh, why should I listen to you for advice, right? Like I don't have that like to showcase I lost 50 some pounds, but like I can connect with you. I know the baby steps to stay how I, like to like continue a healthy lifestyle. Like, so I think that if you just have those conversations, again, like just the trust of like, oh, she does care, or he cares, or they care. It's really important to like showcase all like the full. I'm not just like a coach. Like I'm not just a body here that's like walking around giving cues.
Yeah, it lets you connect with them on different ways, which is good.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you too you've had 2 children. Like you have gone through 2 pregnancy journeys where clearly after you have a child, your body does not look like it did before you got pregnant. So you know that feeling that people have, whether they've had a child or not. It's just getting back to feeling yourself, looking your best, and getting back into the swing of things. Like you can relate to so many people with that.
Yeah.
I just thought of the picture too. It's like you 34 weeks pregnant, whatever you were, doing your little punches at the gym. Like you were there for a very long time with Kaden.
With Kaden, yeah.
That's impressive. Like that's something that a lot of people look
Yeah, you
up
trained
to.
to what? Like I think it was 34 weeks.
No, I trained at 36, I had him at 38. But yes.
What's like one thing today that you're most passionate about, whether it be in your business or like in your family? Like what's the one thing that just fires you up and gets you out of bed in the morning?
Honestly, for one of my children, for sure. Like, you know, like as hard as it is to leave them, they're the reason why we are doing this, you know, right? To like make sure that they are seen, not to have a better, like, you know, a life and all that kind of, but to see that mommy and daddy, they leave, they work really hard. Kaden will ask me, like, you're going to the gym again? It's like, yeah, honey, I'm going to work out. I'm going to like help other people. I'm going to make sure that we're in the right mindset. It helps me to be a better mommy to you. Like, I've been trying to explain it better to him. And that's what Todd Durkin said when we spoke with him 2 days ago, right? But I've been trying to do that, like that piece of it, just so they understand more. Cause like we are gone a lot, you know? And, you know, and I do take him with me to the gym. And so he's a big reason. Like Kinsley, of course, is too, because of his age, he's understanding, right? But for as far as the facility, like I walk in that facility and like no matter how tired I am, like there's just something that just turns on like right away. And I don't know if it's like seeing the member, you know, it's just something about that atmosphere, those four walls when I walk in, like nothing else matters. Like I'm here for a purpose. My purpose is to care and make sure every person in here is seen and not just on the floor, like not just a high five, like I know your story, like how are the kids, like it's just something about the full encompass of someone else's story and being a part of it.
Feeling of connectedness.
Yeah. So just like, I love that part of it. And I love being able to connect and be a part of their journey because their journey is never gonna end, right? Like our journeys are constantly going. I love being able to be a part of the journey.
Well, in a world where we're all feeling so isolated too, like Fit Body brings people together, and for that to be your career, it's so rewarding.
Like I always say, like I had to go to the gym to work, like for my job. Like who, like where are you going to? I mean, that's my job. Like,
and you get to wear comfortable clothes all the time. Doesn't it feel weird, like when you put jeans on? Like I'm wearing jeans right now, and I'm already like, okay, I wish I would have worn my joggers because those are more comfortable.
Like it's time to go out for a dinner date. Can I wear my leggings? My nice leggings.
My
nice leggings.
Nice ones.
No fuzz on the sides.
That's funny.
But the kids, and then just like just that facility, just walking in there, it's just.
That is an added, I would say, bonus though, and you're right, and especially what he said yesterday. Kaden is, our children are going to be able to mature a little bit faster, learn some things quicker, just because of what we're doing. And that is nice. So.
Well, I think they'll be more resilient because they have had, I'm sure they get your undivided attention a lot, but then they also have seen you guys work on something else that's so important and special to you, and they've seen like the way that makes you happy. And so they kind of build that level of like, okay, like mommy and daddy are doing this right now and they're going to be back, and you know, I'm going to be with grandma or with grandpa and do my own thing, and they learn how to be more independent.
I would say with that, the yesterday mastermind, that was one of those things that we could probably do a better job of that. And that's the thing which I really liked that he spoke about that yesterday, that will help to, now it's like on our mind. And that's another takeaway from mastermind. That is something that's awesome. He was right, talk to your kid that way, like let him understand why you're doing things. So that's a huge takeaway from this week for me.
I love it because I do take Kaden to the gym a lot more than
There's mommy's gym.
Because you drive by the road and he's like, are we going to there's mommy's gym? Like he just like knows where it's at and all the fun things. But like he's seen me work there and he's also seen me coach there, right? So he's seen both sides of it. He's also seen me work out there, obviously. So he'll be like, what are we doing today, Mom, at the gym? Like and he'll be like, what role are you taking? Like we go to when we have our outdoor boot camps, they show up, you know, a little bit later, and we'll come home and he'll be like, 2 claps. Like he'll like start like he'll blow the whistle. Like he
coach and training.
He sees it. Like they watch every move we make, and I'd rather it be that move that we're moving and being healthy and talking to other people and engaging and giving hugs and like those little things that kids need to see, you know. And I think my age kids and your age kids, like 3 and a year, like they miss a lot of that, like especially our 3 and 4-year-old, like they miss a lot of that because of COVID. So it's so nice to embrace, you know, those 2 years they missed of, like, you know, of that kind of stuff. So
and they know too, like I tell Sophia all the time, and she's a little bit older, she's 4, and she understands, like I'll say, if mommy works out, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, mommy needs to work out today because I need to be in a great mood. And I mean, well, she'll go to the gym with me too. And she loves to play with the TRX.
Yes.
She loves to like
Kaden loves the TRX.
put her arms up in it and
Yeah.
like swing. And, you know, I'm telling everybody else's kids, don't get on it. And my kids like in the back.
no kids allowed here.
Yeah. And then you're like, don't do that.
Yeah, and then like jumping. Like we did a Halloween kids boot camp and we made the mistake of showing up because we wanted to help. We wanted to help the coaches set up for the boot camp. And so they had like obstacle courses with all of these fun Halloween decorations and like they're setting it all up. And Sophia's running through them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
They like it.
Yeah, and then she's like over in the corner and I'm like, can you just watch your iPad or something so we can set this up?
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like doing everything we're telling the other kids not to
Yeah,
do.
exactly. Yeah, but they're watching every move, and they're like, I love that she wants to do that versus like sit on her iPad. You
Right.
want her. This is the time you want her on her iPad
Exactly.
versus like working out. Yeah, or showing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trevor like just always jokes. He's like, she gets her energy from you. Like you never stop. When I was pregnant too, I was like working out the entire time. I was coaching until I was like 36 weeks pregnant, I think.
Yeah.
And he blames her hyperness on me.
Yes.
Coaching fit body classes. I'm like, that is
The music and all the
definitely-
fun things.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we actually have a coach right now, my head coach. She's 30 in her 36th week right now. And I told her just now, like, okay, now's your time to sit back behind the desk.
Wow.
Like, and she's been crushing it. Like, it's doable,
That's amazing.
you know, and I think it's better for
it
us,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Like to keep moving and be on our feet a little bit. And then, but yeah, she's crushing it.
I think it helps like too after you have your baby if you had been working out because you just feel so much stronger.
Yeah.
And like even though you have that downtime, like you feel like it's not so scary getting back into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
Well, I feel like I could sit here and talk to you guys all day. Like, is there one piece of wisdom that you'd like to leave our audience with, whether on their fitness journey or maybe they're thinking about ownership of a Fit Body Boot Camp?
yeah, I really believe like I'm thinking like my journey, your journey. It's just trust the process. Like in both those avenues, in ownership and in your fitness journey. Like it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be like this, you know, like all of a sudden, like 1 week into it and you're like thriving or you're losing to 15 pounds or 100 pounds. Like you have to trust the process and keep at it because a lot of times you're going to want to be like, okay, what's next that's not working? What's next that's not working? And you can't do that. Like you need to just stay the path and stay hyper-focused on one or two things until you nail it and then go on to the next thing. And again, like that's ownership and that is fitness. Like baby steps, build the steps and build on top of each other and just trust it. Because if you give away right when it's time for that breakthrough, you're gonna wanna switch and don't switch yet. Like just continue it and just trust the process.
It's the long game, not the short game. That's so hard because the short game is usually instant gratification. But long game, you have to wait for it.
And it's the hardest part. Like that's why people give up or quit or, you know, have to try again and try again. And if you just stick it a little bit longer and know that you're doing the right things, and if you know you're doing the right things, success will happen. In one form or another, it's gonna happen. So
That's so valuable. All right, so I like to end all of our episodes with this question, and it is, what does Beyond the Scale mean to you?
So Beyond the Scale means to me is that it's really showcasing behind the scenes of all the different journeys of like where we get to come from, because we're all so different. We all have a different way to get here, and it allows me and you and everybody else to really just open up and like share their story, because everyone is so different. And you think that, oh, they're fit, they had to have this amazing story to get there, like it was hard for them, or like, oh, they had a transformation, of course they know what they're talking about. Like Beyond the Scale like just allows you to like see raw, real material of like, we're human beings that are doing the same thing that you're doing every day.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you guys so much. I know I got a ton of value from this episode. And if you did too, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if our viewers would like to find you, where can they find you?
They can find us on Instagram for our business, lakeorionfbbc, or myself at Kathryn_FBBC.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kathryn and
Thank
Chuck.
you. This is
Thank you. It was
wonderful.
great. It was
yeah,
awesome.
it was really great.
This was fun.
Thanks.